County emergency services outside of the cities are provided by volunteers that are seriously declining in numbers of members. And WCA services here and rural Metro Ambulance in Buffalo are having problems maintaining their professional staffing levels. What new ideas can you bring to the table to help counteract this membership decline in order to provide for continuance of services?
One of the biggest challenges we have is that our EMTs have become overused and overcommitted. I investigated what it took to become an EMT because I had an interest in that. When I discovered the commitment someone has to bring to that to first get qualified, and more challenging yet, every year go out there and get recertified, I became very concerned about the future of our emergency services. We cannot afford to have a paid service, deliver all the work that's currently being done by our volunteers. I work on a regular basis with Julius Leone, our emergency services directors, to find ways that we can support our volunteers. We provided them with scholarship opportunities. We provided them with the ways to draw in new members, to try and rebuild behind these folks who have given so much. That's the sort of thing we have to do because we can't afford it. We can't, honestly, to pay for these hours and hours of service. Up in Silver Creek during the flood, 42 out of the 44 volunteer fire companies showed up to try and help in that cause. There's no way we could have done what we did without them. So it's continuously trying to work against the state mandates who dictate what these EMTs have to go through to remain certified.
Yeah, just very quick, I do have to acknowledge Dr. Ney. I should have acknowledged her on the police consolidation. She did advise me leading up to the resolution that I introduced to bring those two entities together. You know, we recently went to the firemen's muster that was held up in Stockton and listened to Julius Leone talk about the tragedy in Silver Creek and the terrific response that we had. And when you listen to how effective that service was and how everybody came together, the county executive and all of our elected officials and the emergency management team to rally, it just goes to show you what we're capable of. You know, I've always said I've been a consistent supporter of emergency services because if you think about it, if somebody came to you and wanted to design a model here in Chautauqua County and we say, we'll just get volunteers to be our emergency response fabric or structure, they think you're crazy, but look what we have here, the volunteers. My brother-in-law is a volunteer firefighter up in the town of Dunkirk. I've talked with him hour after hour about all the things that they do, and it's just a tremendous service, and I fully support it and have fully supported it as a county legislator.
Okay, and we're getting down time-wise here. We targeted 1:15 to be winding up. I'm going to do one more question, and then we'll do our summary statements. Is that okay with you? In the city of Jamestown, and this will be for Mr. Cornell first, in the city of Jamestown, we are currently working on neighborhood improvement and housing. What is your position and thoughts on the county housing fund?
Yeah, and again, I don't presume to take credit, but yes, I did begin a countywide housing task force and a housing trust fund. I did it by bringing people together like Dr. Lenfall, who has advised me through the years on housing, and I also did it by Vernon Schuletter. I went out and I organized Northside Pride. Now the people of Northside Pride are the ones that did all the work. My function was an organizing function. I've gone to Mayville and I've tried to create a focus. The county has traditionally not focused on housing, but a focus on housing in terms of how it affects economic development. Now, you know, clearly it does, everybody agrees that it does, and I believe that the county needs to play a role in that. Now, we got the housing task force passed, and it took a year to get them appointed. That's too long. It should have taken about a week to get them appointed. And so we need to really step up our pace here. We need to take a leadership role in revitalizing the housing stock of Chautauqua County. We have the most underdeveloped housing stock in the nation, and we have to do something about it and do so aggressively.
Certainly our housing and our neighborhoods are one piece to a very complex problem, and we need to apply all of our resources as judiciously as we can to make sure we move forward. I certainly commend Neighborhood Pride on its work up in the north side. It's an evidence of citizens themselves finding ways to have a really positive impact on the neighborhoods that they live in and want to continue to live in. I firmly support COI and CRIC and CODE in their efforts to go out there and find ways to partner with the county and other sources to find revenue to come in and help make the dramatic and important changes that they've made. And I'm pleased now to be able to support the Housing Trust Fund. I went out and found $100,000 out of your tax dollars of money coming to the county through our tobacco securitization fund that was set up many years ago, and appropriately so. I've acquired another $100,000 of that, so we have $200,000 set aside and ready to go for the housing trust fund. I resisted its first pass because it had nothing built into it by way of who was going to be on it or what the structure they were going to use to loan or give this money away. So I think it was appropriate caution.
Now with that, we're right at 1:15, and we promised to be completing at 1:15, and by virtue of the coin toss, Chuck has got Mr. Cornell has got a closing and summary statement, and this will be a minute and a half.
Okay, I'll be quick. I want to thank all of you. I think this has been a great opportunity, and I look forward to the next month of this campaign. And thank you, Lee. I appreciate this very much. The property tax levy has gone up $1 million in the last 4 years. We continue to shed population, 2,500 in the last 4 years. We continue to see our school enrollments decline. Up in Fredonia, I was told, 175 or so students graduating, only 75 in the kindergarten class. We are on an unsustainable path, and we need to change direction. We need to do so dramatically, and it will require strong leadership at the county executive level. I have come out and said I don't believe that we can continue on the path of wait and see. We can't continue to coast. We can't continue to analyze things year after year after year with no action. We need leadership from the county executive's office to turn this economy around. I've made several specific proposals about how I will do that. They're on my website that you can view. I don't have time to go through them now, but I appreciate this opportunity, and I look forward to the election, and I also want to thank Greg for agreeing to be here.
Mr. Edwards?
I want to thank you for giving me your time. And what I'd like to tell you is that you have a chance this November to make a choice. There has, I don't believe, ever been a clearer distinction between two candidates than what you have here before you. My life has been in the private sector up until 4 years ago. I brought private sector business analysis and effort and leadership to county government. Although my opponent likes to state those statistics, I happen to have them with me. In 2007, the adopted levy was $55,107,000. Next year, my tentative budget, $54,855,000. The tax rate went from $8.95 to projected, as I presented it, down to $8.22. Our Office for the Aging, I cut their budget. We collectively worked to reduce their budget by $188,000. We increased the amount of Lifeline by 90%, Home Aid by 77%. Our Veteran Service Agency was one of the worst in the state. The state director of the Office for the Veteran Services will be in Chautauqua County, recognizing the fine folks I work with as being one of the top veteran service agencies in the state. How did that happen? By consistent focus on the bottom line, bringing business principles. You will soon read in the newspaper about $1.8 million, a contract I signed on Friday at 3:45 p.m. to sell our carbon credits. As a municipal government, applying business principles, saving you $1.8 million. In addition to your methane to electric program, where next year you will have net, after debt service, $2 million profit from taking waste methane, one of the most harmful greenhouse gases, turning it into cash for you.
Well, thank you both very, very much. I want to appreciate, I just really appreciate it.